From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade. Well, Republicans at the state legislature upped the ante today in their ongoing battle with the Montana Supreme Court. This time, Republicans issue subpoenas to all 7 sitting justices, a move they say is simply to get public records from the court to see whether bias exists on new laws that may come before it. Well, minority Democrats say it's nothing but an attempt to smear the judiciary for political purposes. MTN's Mike Dennison has the latest.
The subpoenas went out Thursday morning to all 7 justices on the Montana Supreme Court and the court administrator, Beth McLaughlin. Republican leadership at the legislature ordered the justices to produce, by Monday, all office emails and text messages, and phone logs from their office and personal phones for the first 15 weeks of this year. GOP leadership wants anything that refers to bills before the legislature or action by the Montana Judges Association, the trade association that lobbies for the state's judges. Republicans say they're trying to determine if the court has shown any bias on bills or new laws. In particular, the law that gives Republican Governor Greg Gianforte much more power to appoint state judges. That law is being challenged as unconstitutional and is before the High Court right now. Also this week, Republican leaders formed a select committee to investigate the judiciary. The subpoena issued to McLaughlin orders her to appear before that committee Monday morning. This latest batch of subpoenas comes 1 week after Republicans used their subpoena power with the help of the Gianforte administration to acquire more than 2,400 of McLaughlin's office emails. They then released selected emails to the media. They revealed justices, judges, and their staff commenting on bills that affect the judiciary, and sometimes about how those bills should be defeated. Democratic leaders at the legislature say this latest move is a baseless attempt to slander the judiciary as it prepares to rule on many bills that Democrats say are unconstitutional as passed by Republicans this session.
We've seen policy after policy move through the legislature, not just this session, but in sessions past, that even on their face are unconstitutional. We find that what we're seeing this session is just an unprecedented attack on the judiciary, trying to bring down their work of holding those unconstitutional pieces accountable.
As of Thursday afternoon, Supreme Court Chief Justice Mike McGrath could not be reached for comment and had not responded to the legislative subpoenas. Republican leaders say all they're trying to do is get public records from public officials. But let's remember, while this controversy plays out, the court case challenging Gianforte's judicial appointment powers continues, and the Supreme Court will decide it. Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Thanks, Mike. And the new select committee to investigate the judiciary will hold its first organizational meeting on Friday. Well, today, a Colorado drug investigator told lawmakers to craft thorough and clear regulations for their future recreational marijuana program. Ray Padilla with the Drug Enforcement Administration presented to Montana's Senate Select Committee on Marijuana Law. That committee is working on bills that would implement voter-approved marijuana legalization. He talked about some of the negative impacts Colorado saw after it legalized marijuana in 2014, including diversion of marijuana out of state and damage from large indoor grows. He says he has concerns about allowing people to grow marijuana at home because of the community impacts and possibility that some of that product could enter the black market. He encouraged the committee to make the language of their rules clear so they can be consistently enforced.
I think we are a good test case for what not to do initially and then what to do afterwards, because we've spent a tremendous amount of time. I mean, what's nice is you're on the front end of this thing and you are enacting rules and regulations to hopefully prevent a lot of what we went through.
Now, the committee has tabled several smaller marijuana bills and is still working on 2 large reform proposals, House Bill 701 and 670. A 31-year-old Billings man admits he shot and killed another man last summer in the West End Dairy Queen parking lot. Raheem Calloway entered a plea deal with Yellowstone County prosecutors today in district court. Calloway pleaded guilty to deliberate homicide in the death of 25-year-old Christian Henning on August 8th. The two of them had apparently argued on social media concerning a $100 recording deal. In exchange for the plea, Yellowstone County Attorney Scott Twoway says the state will request a 60-year sentence to Montana State Prison. Court documents state surveillance footage shows Calloway approaching Henning in a Subaru vehicle in the parking lot and firing several rounds at the car. He then placed the gun through the window and shot Henning one more time. A sentencing date has not yet been set. Well, the ATF is asking for help solving a gun shop burglary in Billings, and it could lead to a big reward. The guns were stolen from the Shipton's Big R on North 14th Street this past Monday. Well, today the ATF released these pictures of a person and a vehicle of interest in the case. 7 firearms were stolen. A reward of up to $5,000 is offered for information that leads to an arrest and conviction. If you know anything that could help solve this case, call the ATF tip line. That number is 1-888-ATF-TIPS, or call the Billings Police. We've also put this information inside this story at ktvq.com. Well, Montana health officials report 5 more COVID-19 related deaths in the last 24 hours, including one here in Yellowstone County. That Yellowstone County death, a man in his 70s, is the county's first death this month. The county's death toll now stands at 262, whilst the state's total jumps to 1,530. Montana also saw nearly 200 more new cases today, and the active case count is once again above 1,000. 57 Montanans are currently hospitalized with the virus. Well, if your daily commute includes North 29th or North 30th Streets in downtown Billings, then you've likely noticed the construction signs. Well, Billings Public Works says construction has started to change the one-ways into two-way roads. Construction started April 12th and is expected complete by mid-July. Part of 2019 downtown traffic study shows that the project will have the following advantage. Take a look. It would facilitate an appropriate amount of traffic, provide a safer environment for pedestrians, support a good location for local businesses on the streets, and the Public Works Department says property values tend to rise faster on two-way streets. And the city tells us in areas with two-way streets, pedestrian shoppers, diners, and downtown visitors actually feel safer. You can head to ktvq.com for more information. Well, as parts of the country remain shut down due to COVID guidelines, the Magic City Blues Festival in Billings is a major draw for musicians and fans. The festival is back with 12 bands playing on 2 stages, and at this point, state guidelines will allow a normal experience. Festival owner and promoter Pam Goodridge says a lot of festivals across the country have canceled, so she expects fans from out of state. It all started in 2002, and even with the off year in 2020, promoters are celebrating 20 years. One change this year, the headline acts will play at 8:30 each night instead of sticking around to play last. Keb Mo takes the main Budweiser stage on Friday, and G Love and the Juice on Saturday. Acts on the smaller stage run 3 nights starting Thursday. The Magic City Blues Festival is scheduled for August 5th, 6th, and 7th. Well, for the time, special vintage art show has claimed its own room at the Sandstone Art Gallery in downtown Billings. The show features oil paintings from the 1940s and 50s. Now, the exhibit is largely comprised of work from the late artists Beverly St. John and Leroy Green. Both had ties to the Billings area and spent large chunks of their career in Montana. The paintings were given to the gallery by relatives of the artists to be put up for display and for sale.
Beverly painted every single day. So there's a plethora of paintings, and they're beautiful, and they represent Montana. Leroy Green is one of our really quite well-known painters. He painted locally a lot. They're both oil painters.
Now, for the first time, a special vintage art show has claimed its own room at the gallery. Now, Bladeau says the art will be on display for as long as they're allowed to keep it up. Up next on tonight's MTN 530 News on Q2, as the pandemic shut things down, the outdoors opened up the eyes to more of us enjoying Mother Nature.
Hi everybody, Scott Breen here. Coming up in sports, a coach at the bottom of a mid-court dog pile as the magical ride continues for Dawson Community College in a season to remember.
The almanac doesn't mean a lot at this point. We did reach 36 for a high today. That'll probably stick, but what also sticking is a little more snow across the area. We'll tell you what's up with the forecast through the weekend in just a little bit.